Yay! I, I am beside myself excited.
Well done, Jill.
Hey! Welcome to today and this time with Timothy and Lara. Isn't this exciting?
Yes.
We're very
Yes,
excited to be
yes.
here.
Oh, I'm beside myself. Now, sometimes it doesn't show me whether anybody's watching or any comments. It's just
Okay.
really weird. So if I don't mention anybody or anything, it's because of that. But we're here and we're going to delve into a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I just feel the expansion already just from being here.
Oh, wow.
That's a great
Oh,
word.
isn't it? I
Yes.
We feel
yeah,
that too.
I'm so glad. Um, Now, Lara, would you share some things about yourself? Um,
Absolutely.
and then Timothy, feel free to add anything you want to then after um, about you. But over to you, Lara.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm Lara Brainerd. I'm Timothy Brainerd's wife,
Yeah, I did it.
and he is my husband. And so, yeah, I think that it's interesting because we have sort of different backgrounds when it comes to um, what we're doing right now, which is, this expansion that you talked about. He has his whole life of seeking and, doing all of this kind of esoteric research and self-improvement and whatever, the list goes on, self-discovery. Um, my journey didn't really begin until maybe 6 years ago. So I had a very sort of unquestioning life where I was just sort of, living the life that my parents were living, sort of living through their hopes and ambitions. And then it sort of changed for me 6 years ago, and I started to ask those bigger questions like, why are we here? What are we doing? What is my purpose?
Mhm.
All those really good ones. And that's when, my journey started. I really delved into astrology, still love astrology, human design, the gene keys. And I just have spent the last 6 years studying and loving every second of it. And it led me to Timothy and what we're doing now, which is all the work we're doing with the 64 angels and the Liberated Tarot and everything that's on our website at 64angels.com. It sort of, you know, all of that 6 years of learning has really set us up for what we're doing now. It sort of feeds into it seamlessly because we draw from that sort of inspiration. But yeah, that's my story.
That's
Well, and I
great.
have to ask you in human design, what are you?
So I'm a pure manifesting generator,
Right.
uh, the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix, and I'm a 2-5 profile, so a hermit heretic profile.
Oh, wonderful. And I've got to tell you, it's showing me who's here. We've got Joe and Emma Jane. Joe says, hello, hello, beautiful souls. And
Wow.
uh,
Hi.
Emma Jane is waving to us. So I just wanted to be, way, we got some
Thank you.
visibility. But
Yes, wonderful.
that's interesting. Did you visit human design first or the gene keys?
They're pretty close. I think it was very close after I found human design that I also found the gene key. So it was pretty simultaneous, I would say. I was studying both at the same time. But human design, I think, was technically first.
No. And what about the astrology? Did that come in before?
That was my foundation for sure. I definitely started with the astrological background, which I was super grateful for. It just gave me this like fundamental understanding of what I was looking at when I met human design and gene keys because I knew where that information was coming from. So it definitely helped me, yeah, just informed my way of looking at both of those systems.
Thank you. You know, I've just remembered I saw somebody wrote something once, and I can't remember who it was, but it obviously had an impact because it stayed there. And that you think your date and time of birth is nothing more than that.
Mm.
You couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah,
And it was like, wow, yes, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
What's interesting is I think it's true, but in a potentially unexpected way. Because you could also say, you think that this very moment is just, another moment in another day,
Mhm.
but you couldn't be more wrong. I think the fact is, and the point is that every moment is precious, every moment means something, and every moment of meaning yields some greater meaning. We somehow get to occupy that story on purpose
Mhm.
if we're paying attention. So whether you're looking through one lens or another, the moment you recognize that, it's like life explodes with that meaning and the growth of that meaning and the values and the benefits inherent to all of that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why we started doing our day signature videos, knowing that each day holds this energy and this potential and this excitement that we get to explore.
Mhm.
So I think that is definitely tied to
Yeah, well said.
what we do with our day signature videos.
Oh, that's a gift in itself, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I mean, for us, first and foremost,
Yeah.
we've been so long kind of hiding from video. Those of you who have kind of met me in this context, meeting with Jill in this group, you know that I love meeting with you in this way. But the reason that worked is because we had a conversation, a dialogue, an opportunity to enter into an exchange that Jill facilitated. I've never been able to pull that off on my own, but now with the sort of content that we get to create together, we're a team, and I now get to enter into this daily dialogue, not only with my life, but with my wife. And being able to share from that is producing this kind of this overflow of insight and excitement and
Mhm.
opportunity that we're just riding.
Yeah.
So,
And do you know, one of the things I've absolutely loved when I'm watching your videos is one of you will say something and it'll be like, wow, that's new.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
happens
it's
all the time.
Mhm.
and I sit there and I'm like, and we're all getting to share that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
If you
fun.
didn't say that's new, nobody'd know.
That's funny. Thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of this. We know coming in that the whole conversation is fresh and unrehearsed. But I guess we can't assume that our viewers necessarily understand that. So thank you for that insight, Jill.
Yeah, and it makes it so exciting because we're sharing in that moment
Yeah, that's
something
right.
new with
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's the intent. Wow. Beautiful. So
And it
happy to make that getting across.
yeah, and it just pulls it's like arms around us all. Like
Yeah.
and almost jumping up and down, sort of linked together. We're sharing this moment together.
Mm.
A
Mhm.
new insight, something new to explore.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that is just beyond exciting.
It is.
It
It's a
is.
gift to us, and to know that it extends beyond us to touch others. Again, this is actually the first direct reflection we've had of that, Jill. You're giving that gift to us right now. So
Mhm.
we're sharing in another wow moment as we speak.
Yes. Thank you so much for feedback.
Thank you.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you're sensing our intent. Everything you've described is precisely what we wish for any viewer to feel. You're part of the family. We've opened a window into our home, our world, our way.
Mm.
The fact that you've picked up on that is huge. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for opening the door.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. We'll keep doing
Welcome, welcoming in. I'm getting uh Emma Jana says all the little moments are building up to one big moment in your life.
it.
They
Wow.
all build. Oh, Joe has asked a question. Can you explain a little more about the Angel Steward team
Hmm.
We
used
can.
the other day?
Wow, it's great.
Yeah, so Timothy, if you go to the 64angels.com, which is our website, and you click on the About Us, and there's a little sort of biography about each of us. And I think the heading of the page is Stewards, the stewards. And so we feel like stewards of these 64 angels because we're just facilitating and sharing their wisdom. Um,
Yeah, that's right. We recognize every word really that we offer, whether it's written on the website or spoken in these videos or spoken in these conversations. We recognize this as an opportunity to permit the expression of these angels, these natural forms of expression within us all. And our job, so to speak, as stewards of that is to cultivate a life and kind of an agreement between ourselves and an agreement between ourselves and others that supports that expression. So when we talk about stewarding the angels, it's really about becoming available to that expression in a way that gets Timothy out of the way, gets Laura out of the way, and allows something larger to communicate. So that that something larger, of course, can then touch that same something larger within you. And that's actually quite a practice,
Yeah,
you know, in the same way that caring for anything would be. If you were caring for an instrument, you would keep it dusted and in tune, and
yeah,
you'd make sure to give it love, and you'd play music through it every now and again.
yeah.
That's all we're doing. We're making sure that there's life and energy moving in this direction every single day so that that which has been given to us is cared for and given back over to the world.
What I heard then was let the music be heard.
Oh,
yes.
yes, Jill, you are good at
Oh,
this.
you
Yes.
summarized that beautifully.
Yeah, in far fewer words than I did. So thank you.
It was your words just brought that to life. And and Joe has said, I love the space you both hold for each other's genius.
Wow.
Wow, that
And
gives me chills. Thank
that
you, Jill.
is really special, isn't it? Because yeah,
Yes,
and Emma Jane says you're carrying the messages and portraying them into the world for others to gain wisdom.
that's right. Oh,
Thank you.
that was really well said. For others to gain wisdom. We're the stewards of the angels and we carry our own wisdom, and each of you carries your own wisdom. The idea is that whatever is moving here through us can be witnessed in such a way that the wisdom within you is ignited in its own way so it can find its own words and its own form of expression. That's, I think, the major difference between what's happening now and what has happened for either one of us previously. When we're dealing with analytical systems, oftentimes we're dealing with a system that attempts to tell you something about yourself. It reads you, like you would get a human design reading, and then you would say, oh, because of this system, I am a fill in the blank. What's happening here eliminates all of that. It takes away the need to read or tell anyone anything and instead just gives them the blank slate and the pen and says, go to town because you get to choose. You get to say who you are. You get to decide. And then you get to witness the product of that. You know,
Right.
it's like that's what we really want. This is not the end all be all. This is the beginning, and it's an invitation for everyone to engage.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I was looking at, your website and I was, because there's so much, isn't there? I mean,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah. Blows our
Uh,
minds.
I thought it's a system, but it's not a system that you follow.
Mhm.
It's a system that follows you.
Ooh,
Mm.
my, yes.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It's
Wow. Oh, that is.
alive.
Yeah, it
That's
invites you to
good.
play with it. It really,
It's
make
alive,
it your
isn't it?
It's
own.
alive. Oh, it is. It's alive because even as we speak, it's growing and speaking. You know what it is? It's a system of delivery. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
a system of delivery, and it's delivering content, and it's delivering what we like to think of as the crystal clear light of truth directly from the fire hose. And you can take in as much of that water as you're able, as much of that yumminess as you're able, but it's never going to tell you what to do. It's going to invite you to consider one direction as opposed to another direction. It's going to invite you to consider the difference between something which constricts or disempowers and something which opens and empowers. That's it. That's the whole system. It's childlike in that regard.
And I have to tell you, Joe has said, I wanted the world to hear what real stewardship is about. And I feel that you both get that entirely. It's something I'm very passionate about.
Wow. Well,
that's beautiful.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
one thing I would love to invite separately, whether it's written or otherwise, I would love to hear, and I'm now speaking directly to Joe, I would love to hear your description of a steward, because if you are resonating to this, you hold a definition of your own within you that the world also deserves to hear, and we may as well spin off one another, because I agree it's a very important subject. And now I'm just excited to hear how you would put it into your own words. It doesn't need to be now necessarily, but if you were to comment at some point so I can go back and read it, that will expand what we can see and what we're claiming. And thank you for that, for giving us the opportunity. We've never spoken it before. It's always kind of been an agreement between us and a word that we've selected. We've never had the opportunity to define it. So that was special in and of itself.
That's wonderful. I love these conversations and everybody joining in, and it just opens up so much, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Conversation does that. And conversation between aligned parties accelerates that. It explodes open.
Yeah, that's definitely why one of the many benefits of us doing our videos now, when we didn't know what to expect when we started to, hit record, but as you can see, I'm usually just completely enraptured with what Timothy is saying, and it just sparked so much that we have no idea what's going to come of the conversation, but we've done it for a few days now in a row that we know whatever happens, it's going to be good. It's going to be expansive and definitely spark some new inspiration and understanding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think conversations where it's not pre-planned, where the conversation can go anywhere,
Yes,
it just opens everything up to any direction, doesn't it?
It
it
does.
does. It opens for the possibility of surprise.
Yes. And that's so lacking so often these days, isn't it? There's everything's so controlled, so tight. But
It
this possibility for surprise, as you say, it loses that.
Yeah.
And I just love surprise.
I know you do, Jill.
Yeah.
You've always, as long as I've known you, I've witnessed that very childlike sense of wonder that kind of explodes out of you in certain directions. It's very clear when you've been surprised, and you've always been so generous to express that. But that's such a big gift, because when you express that genuine surprise, the signature of that particular frequency or vibration is reaching out to touch everyone. And the fact that you have shared so much of that with me over the years it's a profound benefit. And each of us gets to do that. But I guess what I'm saying is you've been a model of that, and it's noticed and it's appreciated.
Oh, thank you. I have a question.
Oh, shoot.
The day frequency numbers, are they always sequential?
Yes. They're always sequential from 1 to 86, and then they start again. From 1 to 86, and then they start again. The day signature is based on this kind of a repeating pattern of the full sequence of the Liberated Tarot.
Right. So where did the name Liberated Tarot come from?
we found this one, the Liberated Tarot. The angels have actually never referred to this as the tarot. They refer to it as the codex. We believe that they're referring to it as a codex because of the way that what we refer to as the Liberated Tarot acts as a hub that connects frequencies to the members of the tarot, to the angels themselves, and beyond. Because from there, you can move into words, phrases, concepts, ideas. You can move into animals. You can move into mineral allies. Once you're speaking in terms of frequency, everything kind of connects, right?
Yeah.
Because this is life's original language. So anyway, the angels refer to this as the crystalline codex. That's their full term. We came up with the Liberated Tarot because we were looking for what it was called. We were looking for what we might refer to this as, and we knew it wasn't just the tarot. We were working with the Elevated Tarot, the New Tarot, the Oracle. We loved.
Expanded tarot.
Oh yeah, Expanded
Because
Tarot.
it's definitely more than the standard tarot. The tarot is traditionally 78 cards. Our Liberated Tarot is actually 86.
Right.
So
the way we came to the Liberated Tarot in the end is actually through frequencies. We had all these different options laid out. We chose our favorite from those options, and then we calculated their frequencies. And we may have to check this to be 100% sure.
no, it is.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the Liberated Tarot, if I'm remembering this correctly, comes out to the frequency of 111, 111, which for us has and remains it has been and remains a significant frequency. In fact, that frequency is representative of what we see in ourselves. The divine mathematics, 1 + 1 = 3. It's not just a Timothy, it's not just a Laura, it's not even just a Timothy and a Laura. It's that when we come together, that union produces something altogether new. And so there's a third entity, so to speak, that emerges when we decide to unify our hearts. Now, this is also true in this interaction. It's not just us and you. It's now some other new thing that's developing on the impact of us together. So 1 + 1 = 3 for us is held in the signature of 111. And when we saw that the Liberated Tarot was at that exact frequency, a very rare frequency, it was like, boom, the Liberated Tarot. That's what it is.
Yeah, that was our sign.
Oh, that's really exciting, isn't it? And
Super exciting.
oh, and the other thing I know that the meanings, like with the swords, has changed.
Right.
So how did that come about, that change, that flip?
Well, we knew that we were going to be flipping a lot of things about the tarot. We knew it was going to be almost a perfect 180-degree flip on several of the meanings of the cards, and because the tarot in general has kind of notoriously been
fear-based.
There's
no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's almost unfair to say we knew we would be flipping, because we didn't know a thing.
No.
We knew something was happening. We knew that if we were to continue to work with any version of a tarot, it would have to be clean, which means it would have to be scrubbed clean of any version of fear, any version of smallness, any expression of limitation or implication that we could be limited in any way.
Right.
So the swords.
We wanted it to, we knew it was going to only uplift and expand us.
Yes.
So that was kind of like our compass, feeling our way through it. If we felt uplifted and expanded, then we were onto something.
Yeah. So the way that the swords revealed themselves first came through my kind of long-standing relationship to what is now seer training, to this idea of the sword of truth or the sword of light, a sword being utilized not as a weapon, but as a tool. And in particular, the sword of light being used to proactively carve away that which is not equal to the truth. So I had lived kind of in this idea of this, like in my mind's eye, a literal sword of light. And even the figure for seer training, one of the figures is a sword. So I had this relationship to swords that was kind of like ripe, ready and waiting for this renewed understanding of the swords as what we would refer to as a set of virtues. It's not just a suit, it's not an inert category, it's this living set of virtues that are somehow represented by the image of a sword of light, which means that the whole set of swords, from the Queen of Swords all the way through to the Ten of Swords, is about one thing in particular, which is using our mental power in a very specific, a very precise, a very intentional way, which is to produce within ourselves an awareness of truth and a willingness to move with conviction on the ground of that truth.
That makes sense. And do you know, when I heard you talking about the swords,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that would keep me sort of not entirely happy with getting to know the tarot was the fear in there.
Yeah,
And fear is a low vibration, isn't it?
it is. It is.
Absolutely.
And I've always thought, why would I go anywhere which is going to bring me to any form of a low vibration intentionally?
Right. Or
Very
leave it
good
up to
point.
fate. You know, shuffle the cards and hope to God you don't pull a sword. You
Yeah.
know, like
No, that is a really good point.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, I get to see something now in a completely different way.
yes,
Very exciting.
Yes,
powerful work.
at a
That's the way
high
to be.
vibration.
Yes. But to consider that that's in there all along, that's the thing that's blowing our mind. It's like we think it's about the thing. We think it's about the tarot. Oh, the tarot's at a low vibration. A lot of people rightfully avoid it under, on that assumption. But to find that somehow beneath the misunderstanding is waiting this empowered truth, just waiting all along. It's been there. It's some special miracle that we uncovered anything at all. But when you spend a lifetime hearing about the tarot and being afraid of the death card or the devil or the tower, and you're just like, man, I just don't know if this is for me, but you're continually called back to it. The reason this happens is because life knows something you don't yet know, and it's trying to initiate you to that awareness. And so you find that the death card is actually attempting to communicate life, not death. And the devil is introducing you to the angel, not the devil, you know? And the tower is not about breakdown, it's about redemption. And it literally has this instinct to rise, not fall. Everything is moving in the opposite direction of the truth when we are encountering fear. And I think our really powerful opportunity in all of life on every subject is to realize that any constrictive moment, any fearful moment, any like worry-based experience is actually inviting us to see what's under it, which is always good news, always an invitation to more, always a promise and a guarantee of more life. I mean, I'm just like racked in chills even as I'm speaking, not because my words are so good, but because what is inspiring them is so obvious and so available.
Yeah.
How amazing. Life is that good.
Yeah. It's easy to get stuck on the surface though, isn't it?
There's a lot of noise on the surface, and there are a lot of people very certain that whatever they can see on the surface must be true because they're looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without knowing that they have a choice to
Mm.
change the meaning.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
And something that Tim said years ago, and again it really impacted me, was about the fact that you said so many people open a door and they believe they have complete understanding by standing in the doorway looking in, and they
Oh,
never
wow.
step inside.
Wow. I said that?
Wow.
You did say that, yeah. And that had a big impact on me, because what I've always questioned ever since is when I think I know something, I ask myself the question, am I standing in the doorframe, or have I walked inside and explored this?
Very good.
Where am I coming from?
Mhm.
And
Wow. Real
they're
good.
they're important questions to ask, aren't they? But
They are.
yeah, I
Yes.
can't remember how long ago it was you said that, but it
Wow.
was, it never left me. It's not written down anywhere.
Yeah, that reminds me of what the swords represent in the Liberated Tarot, which is to keep our mind open and agile.
Mm.
Always be looking for the opportunity to grow and learn more, expand your mind. We don't feel like we know it all. We're learning and we're always willing to learn more. And I think we can trust that life will tell us what we need to know when we need to know it as well.
Yeah.
So we're not concerned about knowing it all because we know that, we can lean into that realization, that true knowing that we will be shown what we need to know when we need to know it.
Yeah.
And other than that, we can just relax. We can relax into the goodness of life.
Yeah.
Wow. Preach, baby.
Ah, hey, you taught me well.
It's an important subject
Yeah.
and it's a theme.
Joe said the Liberated Tarot is great. And she said, here's an idea. Many previously hidden ideas are being revealed at the moment.
Mhm.
These new concepts that have in fact have the effect of liberating where all the dogmas get stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, there it is. That's exactly right. It's actually a really, I think, significant point being made there because we've been given this opportunity to focus in this particular area. We've been given the angels, we've been given the liberated tarot. But I think what you're pointing at in this message is that this can happen on every subject. And there will be people attracted to certain systems, certain subjects, certain ideas that have previously been primarily disempowering, and they'll be attracted to them in order to unlock the empowerment they contain.
Mhm.
And so it's like, wow, that's even, I think, in terms of like my personal relationship with human design, I've chosen to leave it behind because I recognized it to be kind of a limiting system within its mainstream context. But we're already getting hints at how that limitation is only within a certain context and how the right person with the right perspective absolutely can and will unlock. We already saw that with Richard Rudd and the Gene Keys. We're already seeing that with the 64 Angels. So take your pick of any subject. I can imagine this playing out in politics. I can imagine this playing out in religions. All of these things that have calcified in a particular way are just waiting to be enlivened, and every one of us serves a part. We now know where our part is, like what direction that lies in, and every single person has the opportunity to find theirs. That's exciting.
It
This
is.
isn't the end all be all. It's a puzzle piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
And a question about the 64 angels.
Yes.
Now, I noticed they refer to themselves as we, not I,
Hmm.
yet they show up in an I type context.
That's right.
So my question is, when you have an exchange,
Hmm.
are you aware of all of them or the one or a combination?
I love the question. It's such a smart question because I had to ask the same question. Like, of course you're asking that. Anyone paying attention, I think, will ask the same question at some point. So in one of the sessions, one of the earlier sessions, I believe, I asked the angel this question. And the response from them was that they are a collective that essentially funnels their awareness through a particular channel or flute or word, in this case, a name, an expression on purpose in order to communicate at a particular time. But ultimately, they are all speaking at once in a certain fashion. And so, from their perspective, it's always we. But for our benefit of conversation and essentially providing this opportunity to get a taste of all these different angles or facets of expression, they're speaking through one at a time. Now, my experience of it is interesting because, especially after having received that kind of explicit description from them, when I meet with them, I can feel if I'm meeting with this or that angel. When I met with the angel of intelligence, the 17th angel of intelligence, which, by the way, is very active in this day's signature. It's like everything it's about is happening now and being awakened now. I think we met with the angel of intelligence in the 8th session. When I met with that angel, it had a very specific feeling. And yet I could still feel all of the angels like around me or present. It wasn't necessarily around me. It's not spatial, it's just a presence. So I know that all 64 angels are there. It's not like one of the 64 angels is speaking. It's like all the 64 angels are speaking through one of them. Kind of abstract, but it is fair to say that I can feel that distinction.
Yeah, and they kind of have
Personalities, flavors, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's is it anything like the Borg?
I don't know.
I don't.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
You don't watch Star Trek?
No, that's hilarious. I know Star Wars, but I don't know Star Trek very well. So explain that idea.
All right. The Borg, I know this is a bit off. It's not quite as it would be, but they assimilate whole planets, whole beings. They designate numbers to species rather than call them by their, like humans have a species number. And there's a queen, but they all are connected by thought.
Wow.
So they don't talk individually, they always talk as we.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I suddenly thought, well, if they communicate together like that just reminded me of the way orcs communicate, because they communicate all the time. If something needs to be done, they don't have to tell anybody what to do. Collectively, they all know it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we do know that it works in that way, in one way, because they say they prefer to speak in terms of we as opposed to I, which is why they'll show up and say, I am the angel of intelligence. But from that point forward, they tend to speak in the we. Yeah. Actually, what it reminds me of a little bit while you were sharing that, I don't know if this metaphor is any help, but imagine if you have a song, like a soundtrack, and you play that one song. In this case, the song is truth itself. You play that particular soundtrack through your cell phone, it's going to sound one way. If you then play it through your MacBook, it's going to have a little more body, a little more depth, a little more character. It'll sound a little different. But then if you play it through a beautiful speaker system, different signature. A massive speaker system in an auditorium, different signature, same song, but it's kind of producing a different energy, a different experience in each case. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Because it's not like we're hearing different things from these angels. In a way, we are. The words they're using are different. The flavor is different, but the principles that underlie them are the same. It's like they're finding a million different ways to say the same thing so that no matter who's listening, who's reading at any given time, everyone has a chance to get it. That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
The words carry the energy, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They do. And certain words and certain energies resonate to certain types. I find certain things beautiful. The next person over may or may not. So to have all these different opportunities to receive all these different transmissions, all saying the same thing in different ways, everyone is afforded the opportunity for that breakthrough moment of like, oh, I get it. And the thing is, once you get it through any single frequency, they all unlock. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my word, we do this all the time. We reread these sessions ourselves and it's new every time.
Yes, it is. And they tend to try to find as many different ways to say the same thing as they can, because different combinations of words will resonate with somebody and really land. So they're just always trying to come up with all the different ways that they can say something so that it can really have an impact on whoever's reading,
Yeah.
and they can just, cover all the bases, so to speak.
That's cool.
It's beautiful, and that it's true.
Poetic even.
It's really true what you said about just revisiting the conversation. You can read it and then a month later read the same one and extract new insights from it. It just lands differently because of the time, what's going on in your life, whatever the case may be. But it really is
Alive.
It's alive, and it's definitely worth that returning to.
Yeah, I agree.
And do you talk to the angels together?
No, not for the sessions.
I'll be sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very, very focused activity.
Yeah.
It is not casual.
No.
It requires complete attention over sometimes fairly great lengths of time. Initially, it was a few hours. There have been multiple cases where it's extended into 2 days and even 3 days.
Mhm.
It can be very exhausting, but very rewarding.
Mhm.
It is not channeling. Also, I got to be really clear about that. It's not like I'm becoming open to a different voice, which is using my vocal cords to move my mouth like a puppet. It's nothing like that. I'm fully involved in the act, and it's like it feels like I'm literally in a conversation with something that I can only hear in my deep mind. You can't hear it, Lara can't hear it, but I can hear it. The challenge is that it's somehow behind all of my ideas about what it's going to say. So the time that it takes to produce a session is really the time that it takes me to suss out the difference between that voice and my own expectation of what that voice may or may not say. And so that's, I think, why, at least for now, it's very focused. But even just this morning, just moving through life, moving through conversation, doing what we do, being excited about the things we're excited about, a sentence, a phrase, you can pull it up if you'd like, came through for us in the flow of dialogue without any effort. This happens fairly often as well. And in those cases, to me, it feels like they're speaking through us because it's a direct result of whatever's happening for us in the moment. It's not me focusing and Laura doing something else. It's very much about our energy, like almost like burping this insight, which is clearly from one or another angel. Would you like to hear what we received today?
I'd love to hear.
Okay. It's beautiful because it's totally on theme of our conversation. Of course it is. It came from the 17th angel of intelligence, who we've already mentioned. And it's directly referring to the pathway that this angel walks, which is the pathway of knowing, right? And the paradox of this pathway is that the pathway of knowing unfolds as a result of our willingness to release the need to know. So we open to this idea that we can't possibly know how everything works. We can't possibly compute the odds of life moving in one direction or another, or arriving in this way or that way. So we release the need to know. We enter this terrifying world of I don't know, we've run scared from for most of our lives. And what we discover is that we're shown what we need to know every step of the way. And so we were actually talking about this earlier this morning. And of course, we're talking about it again on the call. And the words that came through like this, they literally came out of my mouth and I was hearing them as they came, not before. That's why I was like, whoa, wait a second. That was the thing. The transmission that came through today was only one sentence, but it said this. Okay, here it is. You need to know that everything you need to know is yours the moment that you need to know it. You need to know that everything you need to know is yours the moment that you need to know it, not before. So we get to release the need to know because we receive what we need in the moment. There's nothing to worry about.
That is so powerful.
Incredible.
Oh, it landed hard for us. We're like, wow. So we'll actually, before the day is out,
it feels really good when you spoke the words. I was like, wow. It's like a sigh of relief,
Yeah.
Got us both. Before the day is out.
That need to know before is such a stress, isn't it?
Oh, it's deeply irresponsible. We are so incapable of understanding how life works and we've never been able to tell the future, and yet we're still over here trying to draw our graphs and chart trajectories. It's silly. It's childish. And that's part of what this angel really came up to invite, was just like, hey, let go of all of that. Life will take care of itself. Unlike you, life with a capital L is capable of it. So you just relax. You just do what is yours to do. We got the rest, like, wow, that's so great. It does invite relief. You're correct. We're going to add this sentence that we just read to you to that 8th session as like an addendum at the very end, both on the website and in the free printout of that session before the end of today. So anyone who's watching this today, if you hang tight maybe till tomorrow, you could download that entire transcript and study it. It's yours.
All the sessions are on our website, so it's just a really great resource.
And and our pleasure to gift.
Right. We'll be adding more. It's been maybe a month, but it's a matter of time before we start having sessions again. Again, they come through in their own timing, and we don't try to make it happen, but when it's time, it's time.
Yeah,
and do you know why I'm smiling at hearing you say that? That is so in sync with that.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's going to happen. Yeah, that's right.
You'll know what you need to know when you know it. I'm saying it wrong now because I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, you got it great.
No,
I'm too excited. But that's why I started smiling then. Yes, but you'll know.
Yes.
And then we'll all know.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and there's the ripple effect. It's amazing. And the thing is, that ripple effect never gets to happen unless, in this case, I have the willingness to trust the fact that I don't yet know. And that's so different from what this society has trained. This society has trained us to build strategies and to promise results. If someone said to me, hey, Timothy, we'd love to publish a book based on these sessions, but you're going to have to tell us, at what rate do you think you'll be able to produce a session so we know how big the book is going to be and when it will deliver? I mean, that's, if they want to sign a contract based on that kind of a strategy, I would have to turn down the contract because I'm not the one in control of that. I would have to say, I don't know. And it would be really scary to say, I don't know, but it's also very honest. In fact, it's the only honest thing any of us can say. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And the one thing I do know is that I will find out when it's time. Yeah. So we get to relax and we get to be surprised. Wow, how scary is that really?
But it's not, is it? But
not at all. That's the thing.
It's kind of a fear thing to say, I don't know.
There should be nothing about that ignites fear. It should feel honest, and it should feel kind of like a promise, because in saying I don't know, there's something that's activated. It's like the ball gets rolling, and now it's only a matter of time before you will. Especially if you're genuinely curious or interested in whatever the subject may be.
Right. Yeah. But don't you think it takes a sort of a time of relaxing into yourself to get to that point?
It does.
I can remember when I first started teaching people to drive, and in my first week of going out, and there was no sat nav, I just had maps and finding people's houses and feeling like when we were out driving then, I couldn't say, I don't know my way back to your house. Because I felt like I should know it all.
Yeah.
And I even remember driving down this road, and we should have gone over a bridge, and I looked over to my left and I could see the parallel road, the other side of this expanse. I should be on that road.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't want to say anything, and I found somewhere to turn around. We went back like it was part of the thing. And then as I was more relaxed, I could say to somebody, I'm not quite sure of the way back to your house. You know the way?
Yeah, that's great.
You know,
You end up
you
recruiting resources
you
to
talk us
do that.
back there.
Yeah, that's good. I like
And
that, Jill.
but it took that time to get
Mhm.
that relaxed.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the same for everything, to be able to say, I don't know,
Yes.
to get to that relaxed state.
I think you're dead right.
Mhm.
If it's not about relaxing to find it deeper within yourself, basically relaxing into a space that's deep enough to like tap the knowing, then it's about relaxing enough to receive the knowing from the resources around you. That's why I loved your metaphor. It's like, oh, all the while the person sitting next to you, I obviously knows the way back to their own house, but you're making yourself responsible for everything actually cuts you off from that intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's what the angel was telling us too. It's like, hey, it's all here and it's all for you. So the pieces you're supposed to know, you will know at the right time. And the pieces you don't need to know, you simply don't need to know. You get to go out there and enjoy.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, imagine if a parent took a child to the park and before the child could go and play on the swing set, it was like, okay, walk me through this. How long are we going to be here for? How are we getting, you're going to drive me back home, right? It's cool. And then what are we having for dinner? And I'm going to be okay for the rest of my life, right? And then how am I going to make money when I'm 37 years old? Because I'm kind of concerned just before I go swing on that about the future. It's absurd.
It's
But we literally do this.
that was good.
I've never used that metaphor before, but it's cracking me up in my own
It's
mind.
perfect.
That was wonderful. I went on a whole journey with that then. Let me look. I've got comments here. Joe said, echoing the importance of truth made light.
Hmm.
And she
Wow.
said, don't stand in the doorway, get out in the breeze and let it invigorate you.
Beautiful. Yes.
Um, oh, okay, that's a bit about the Borg, but we'll I'm not quite sure what Joe was referring to there. The sexier bit about the Borg. Um, the collective energies made communication when looking at the idea of the angels' hierarchies in various beliefs.
Hmm.
And she says, yes, this type of work is gentle waves, patient, loving, surprising waves.
Wow.
Wow.
That's poetry. That's
Mhm.
exactly how we experience it. And once again, to know yeah, Lara's over here taking this like deep breath. You can't hear it, but I just heard it. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, what a wash of relief. We want everyone who comes into contact with every image that we've designed, every word that we've chosen, every video that we share, we want them to feel that same sense of like, oh, ooh, thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Not thank you, Timothy and Laura. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. What a gift.
Mhm.
There is no moment, no circumstance we should not be able to look at with that same exact feeling, that same exact awareness.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mhm.
And the thing I notice is it's like you're both, and I see you sort of opposite each other, opening up this space for it to come through,
That's cool.
Wow.
I
rather
like
than standing in front of it and
Right.
deciding what should come through.
that's great.
It's like open.
Wow.
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah, we're not a filter.
No.
That's wonderful. I think that's important too.
Mhm. Thank you.
We were eating breakfast this morning talking about the tarot, not even knowing that this is kind of what we would be speaking with you about today. We were talking about how this initial idea, the original idea of the tarot, very well could have been given to someone or many someones in a way that was super clean and super ready to show up very much like it is now through us. But if that were taken into a person and then all of their fears and insecurities were woven into it, you'd end up with a broken version of the real thing. Or I mean, a different way to say that would be a less helpful version of the real thing.
Mm.
So I think you're 100% right in what you're describing, and it's how it feels to us. It feels like there's this well that we've been given access to. There's no need to filter what's in the well. we can just get out of the way and drink. And we can say, hey, do you want to drink too? This is really good.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what it feels like, just this openness. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. You're giving us a lot. Not only you either, Jill, you, Joe, Emma, everyone with us today. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we feel like we're just receiving.
Yeah, absolutely. We came up prepared to give, and it's like Christmas Day over here.
Mhm.
Oh, you're giving.
Okay, good.
We're all receiving, but it's receiving and giving are so connected, aren't they?
Absolutely. They are one movement. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Show you who told us that. This guy, Emerald.
Oh,
When
right.
I met with Emerald a couple of years ago, it told us that receiving and giving are one act, just like inhaling and exhaling are one act of breathing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I wonder how many other things are like one act.
A lot, probably. Life is a symbiotic movement. Everything wraps back on itself. Everything is connected. It's probably all one act.
Yeah, we were told that life is one act
Oh, yeah, that's
many
true.
times.
That's right. So there you go.
And Joe said you are amplifying what there is by bouncing off each other. Yeah, and you do.
We feel that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this actually reminds me of something Joe said earlier, which it's still inside of me. Like it's very, very significant that you would see this and choose to share it. The respect that we have for one another's genius. I mean, I show up to these conversations just certainly excited to speak and to share whatever may come up, but mostly I'm excited to see what happens. Like I'm just excited to hear my wife show up in the way that she does and surprise me.
Mhm.
And then you're witnessing that surprise in real time, like you said.
Mhm.
And I know the same is true for Laura. In fact, none of this would exist if not for Laura. She recognized a certain genius, a certain capacity, a certain readiness in me that I was not aware of. And had she not proactively encouraged me, not pressured, not forced or guilted me, but rather encouraged me to lean into, to trust that capacity, none of this would be alive. Everything you see on the 64angels.com, this massive site that we've built in next to no time, or rather, that's been built through us in next to no time, not one word of that would exist. It's all because of her respect of what I wasn't even able to see for myself. So the fact that you, each of you as third parties, is capable of kind of witnessing what's happening here and to say, hey, that's cool because that blows my mind. But it's so appropriate and it's dead on. So thank you.
Oh yeah. It's just, and we're all witnesses.
Of one another.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. We just witness each other. I was just holding up a mirror for you, to see yourself, and that's what we do for each other. So
We celebrate one another and we
Mhm.
celebrate our life and our world. And we celebrate you, Jill, and we're celebrating everyone who's with us today. And we are being celebrated. It's like this is the loop. This is the symbiotic mechanism that takes one thing and makes it so much larger, even than the sum of its parts. What we get to do. And that's why celebration works so well. And that's why life is so productive. And that's why we can say that life is only good, because
Yeah.
it's rooted in this same movement.
Mhm.
And celebration is so important, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yes. Fundamental.
Yeah.
It's the key vibration as far as we're concerned.
Mm. And it's not about, oh, it's not big enough to celebrate.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. I'm celebrating every sip of this water.
I love that.
Yes, we celebrate every day.
Yeah, it's
That way.
so important, isn't it, that we do that celebration.
Yes.
And I've made up my own little thank you, thank you, thank you song, which I won't sing because
Oh, I love that though, Jill.
and
Yeah.
every morning I'm in the kitchen getting breakfast and I'm singing my thank you song
I love that.
and waving my arms around and everything changes. I feel
Oh,
my heart expand and everything suddenly lights up.
yes. Yeah.
And it's a choice. We can choose to do that, can't we?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It is a
preach.
choice.
It's so, so important what you're saying. And I want you to know, Jill, that you are doing that. I'm happy that it also makes you feel so great within yourself, but know that that very thing is making this world brighter.
Mhm.
Truly. I mean,
We,
it's so important.
yeah, we,
Your thank you song.
yeah, we put that out, don't we? You know,
Yeah.
it expands out away from us to everything.
Yes.
Mhm. To infinity.
Mm.
Just keeps going.
To infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was going to come in. And oh, Joe is saying, sing it, sing it. No, I'm not singing.
Maybe next time.
Oh, I sing really badly.
Oh, no one sings the thank you song badly, I promise.
That's right.
No, that would be okay. But keeping a tune is not my thing. So, is there anywhere you'd like to travel to next?
In conversation,
Mm.
I think what we were most excited to do in this conversation was really be available. Well, what I was most excited to do was introduce my wife. I'm
Yeah.
like, how many times have we done this? And I've always been alone.
Oh,
This time I get to officially celebrate Laura. So that's part of what I'm doing here is like, yes, yes, yes. Do you guys see? But we were excited to show up and be available to any questions. We realized that so much content has just exploded to life over the past few months. And for the rest of the world, that's like next to no time. Of course, for us, it's like lifetimes. We've been just all day, every day immersed in this. But we wanted to be able to answer any lingering questions. And what's really impressive to me is that you came prepared with questions. So if there are others, you're like, yeah, but what about this? Or how does that work? We want everyone who comes into contact with this to know that the content is free. The website itself is intended to be a tool. It's a resource. It's meant to be not only studied and read, but actually put to use in order to in, improve the quality of your life, in order to expand you. So if there are any questions about how to get to things, how to use things, where to begin, we invite those questions. That would be really productive.
mhm.
Okay. So, are you asking for those now,
Sure,
or
yeah. I mean, that would be wonderful. They either now or even
After the fact,
correct
if
through comments
something,
or
yeah?
messages.
right, if something
Yeah.
comes up after, we're always open to answering them.
Yes.
So, a question is the frequency of the day.
Mhm.
If somebody sort of looks at the website, doesn't know anything about it, how would they know their frequency for that day?
They wouldn't currently.
Currently, although I have mentioned
Yeah.
that I would like to have a page dedicated to the day frequency, explaining what it is, and how you know what the frequency of the day is. Now, once you realize where you are in the sequence, you just follow along the sequence. But that's coming soon.
Yeah, in particular, I think Jill's asking if like you went to the 64 Angels today, how would you know what today's day signature is?
Right.
So one solution for that currently is simply to navigate to our YouTube. And if you scroll to the footer to the bottom of any page in our website and click on the little YouTube icon, it's going to take you to we now have a YouTube. Never had that for this before. But every single day we're recording the day signature, and the frequency of the day is noted right in the title, as is the day's date. So for today, we've already recorded and uploaded that video. Anyone searching could access it in this way. And so for the time being, that's going to be our answer.
Yeah.
However, I'll admit that Laura's original idea and what you're bringing up makes really good sense. It deserves a home on the website, and that'll come. We just have to figure out where it goes and how to make it beautiful. It's always the question, and we'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Elegant, Timothy.
Oh, wow.
Elegant.
Thank you. You know my word.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so unless somebody scrolls to the bottom and goes to the YouTube,
Mhm.
that's the way they would discover it right now.
That's the best way to find it now.
Right
I'm
now.
also sharing that video on Facebook. You know, there are other areas where it's showing up. We're kind of spread out in many directions. Our Instagrams are always active. Every day we're going to announce the day signature.
Yeah, we
But
announce it every day.
I think it makes sense for the website to act as home base. In time, we'll have a page dedicated to the day signature. For now, go to the website, navigate to YouTube, have them both open in separate tabs, because often what we're describing in the day signature, you'll want to kind of like explore for yourself on the website. So today's a perfect example of that with the 8th session we had with the Angel of Intelligence. You want to beeline for that. So it's good to have that website open anyhow.
Yeah. And I love the way that the website opens tabs. So
Thank you.
just jump around with ease, you know. I mean,
Good. That was Laura's idea. Maybe it was my idea initially, but she confirmed that we need to do that for everything.
brilliant. It's brilliant because you can't forget where you were or have difficulty finding your way back there, because you get, you know, you can get sidetracked by something else, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
can always find your way back to that tab because it's open.
Good. Thank you. That's fun.
So
These are little functional aspects of intention that we've built into the architecture of the site. We're always thinking in terms of experience. How would we use it? How might others benefit from using it? So to know that that's working is awesome.
yeah, it really works beautifully. No
It's 11.
questions have popped up right now. It could be that, you know, people are thinking and people
It's okay.
watch on replay.
Yes.
So
We'll monitor and we invite direct messages. You know, everyone in your group, Jill, is a friend. So
yeah,
everyone is welcome to contact us at any time with any questions. They're invited. In fact, we really, really do desire that engagement.
and I'm very aware that I don't want to take up too much of your time. We could keep on talking here for hours, I know.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, this has been wonderful, Jill. We
Yeah.
very much appreciate the opportunity to
I
see
love
you.
this, and I thank you. I'm so pleased to see you both, and I hope you'll come back many times together.
We would very much enjoy that.
Definitely.
I would, and you know, congratulations so much for your wedding.
Thank you.
Finding each other and sharing life together.
It's a really big deal. It has changed everything. Thank you. We celebrate that daily.
Yeah, and I know that everybody who knows you, Tim, was so excited when we saw those photographs, and it's oh, so many good wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted you to know that. And Joe said, "Thank you, lovers."
Yeah, that's us. Great.
So, yes, do you feel there's anything else you want to share? Do you feel complete, or is there?
I would say I do. I feel
Yeah.
full to overflowing, so grateful and totally complete. Thank you. Thank you for this, Jill.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Jill.
you. Thank you. So, and thank you everybody who's joined us live and everybody who watches on the replay. And we're going to stop the live stream and say goodbye.